Because he's a king, he has dependents, and his duty is to fight on behalf of religious principles. So, as such, it's important for a service to be honored as a hero. Because one has to have a certain mentality, a certain kind of excitement for fighting. Kshatriyas are very excited to fight. They get excited. Any confrontation, any challenge, any opportunity to fight is very exciting for a Kshatriya. So Kshatriyas are useful. They're very useful in the face of such altercations and situations. They have those qualities: heroism, power, courage, generosity. It's very important for the chest of the Kshatriya to be very hard now, the scars on his chest. It's very valiant. And for his backside to be egregious for Kshatriya. Because it implies when he might have gotten slashed by his fleeing, which is very dishonorable, to flee from battle, or to draw water like you're in. So this is the duties of the Kshatriya. So Krishna is speaking from that platform because Arjuna is a Kshatriya, is the nature. So ultimately, though, that's not the highest consideration. Those are just temporary considerations. Because the real position of the living entity is in the service of Krishna. And not necessarily that he's just a Kshatriya or Brahmana or Vaishya or Shudra or this or that or whatever, but that he's the servant of Krishna. And that's the real aim of knowledge, is aimed at realizing that, first and foremost. But it's just giving some reasons. Because Arjuna was debating like that, he was saying all these considerations. Considerations why you might want to leave the battle. Krishna is giving some responses, giving some argument, which are based on the dharma of the Kshatriya. But we come to find out that there is much, much more that Krishna will have to say to Arjuna. Actually, we're a little bit beyond that point, actually, because Krishna has already spoken this transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. That Dehinosmine Tade Komanando Mandira Tade Hantarapa Virvidastatra. How many nice verses that Krishna has already spoken about the nature of the soul, which is the preliminary knowledge in transcendental knowledge, is the knowledge of the soul. This is confidential knowledge, because now it's touching on spiritual. What is spiritual? So it's confidential, it's subtle, it's knowledge which is meant for the higher classifications of men, those who can understand knowledge, someone with intelligence can understand this. So ultimately, that's the aim of the Vedas. The Vedas are offering prescriptions for all different kinds of living entities according to where they're at. But the ultimate aim, Vedansa Sarvara and that the ultimate aim is to know Krishna. Not that we just try to remain satisfied in the material world. That's very foolish. Of course, the Vedas offer prescriptions for that as well. But Not that we just accept that. We realize, take the whole thing. Or understanding the knowledge from the spiritual master who has the broad context. Otherwise, you just open up anything, you read whatever you read, and you say, oh, yes, I'd like to go to the end of the planets. So, which, there's lots of nice material enjoyment there. That's for sure. But, one who realizes this material enjoyment is all the same. Whether I have this kind of thing or this kind of body or that kind of body, doesn't matter. Real aim of life is to know Krishna. And in knowing Krishna, sense enjoyment is counterintuitive. You know, just like when you try to start a fire, having some points of water, it's not very nice. So we're not so concerned with sense enjoyment. These different these material knowledge is all aimed at that. Well, whether I'm concerned with how to be this or how to be that, how to be a lawyer, how to be a doctor, how I'm concerned with the stock market, whatever it might be, different kinds of knowledge. Spheres, activities that all are more or less aimed at making these fields of activities. Because that is the primary interest of such persons who get paid to perform different jobs. That's the primary interest. They might be doing some kind of, good work, but their primary motivation has to do with dancing those categories. So that's not all there is. There's much more than that. There's much more. Those pleasures are temporary, full of suffering. And one will just get another body. Body in the mode of goodness, body in the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, animal life, like that. Material variety, but it's all really the same because it's all temporary. Whether I live for 100,000 years as a demigod or a few days as an insect, it's temporary. And actually, Krishna says, for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. So once you've been given some kind of opulence or some kind of something, some kind of status in the material sphere, then there's every chance that I become attached. Given some beauty, something, status, become attached to that. Lasts forever, but it doesn't. It's ripped away. So in some sense, those devotees, we're also asking somebody who knows that there's more to life than these things. He's even asking Krishna, take away these things. Don't give me these things. Just give me your devotional service. One, that's how nectarian devotional service is. It lasts. And that's the knowledge of the devotee. He's got such high knowledge, transcendental knowledge. He's asking the thing that everybody's mad for, power and beauty and wealth and all these material opulences. People are going things at all. It doesn't want it, just cause us devotional service, life after life. That's the only consideration of the devotee. He doesn't even want liberation, salvation, anything, nothing. Just wants to serve Krishna. Just wants to please Krishna life after life. So that's the conclusion of the Vedas. That's the only way to know God. There's no other way to know God. There's no other way to know Krishna besides devotional service. No. Why would there? Why would we think that, okay, I can practice some mechanical, artificial system of mystical yoga and stretch my back and like that? No. Why? God is supremely powerful. He doesn't want you to know him. He wants nothing you can do. Many examples of this in the Vedic literatures. Different personalities who've tried to attain God in these various ways, and they fail time and time again. You know, so like Hiranyakashipu, he attained like the epitome of like material, sense gratification, like the highest thing that one materialist could think of. You know, and he was killed by the Lord very quickly. And even the highest demigod, Lord Rama, they couldn't do anything for him. So there's no reason to go to the demigods either. Right? What's the reason? There's a material thing. But what's the point? You can't get Krishna that way, you know? And that's what we actually want. We want Krishna. He's the goal of the Vedas. We want some kind of pleasure that will last, but we're not getting it any way, any which way, except through devotional service. I think it was in the series of Nehabi Krama Natusti, album of not Krishna. Even though Krishna is Rishikesh, even though he doesn't sense it, he can actually give sense gratification, and he does. He gives the sense gratification. He's the only provider. The provider, really. So he gives that sense gratification. All living entities, through nature, living entities are provided with these things. They're allotted amount of bathing, they're allotted amount of sleeping, they're allotted amount of defending. Nothing more, nothing less. This is all the original book. Well, one is trying to work so hard to increase those things, and those things. He's preaching. But we want this sense gratification. It's inherent to us. We want to be enjoying something, some pleasure. This is our nature. Anandamaya Vyasat. That's this. Krishna is full of ananda, and the soul is also in his rightful position. He is also, but under illusion, he's seeking this thing and giving himself over to some corporation, some boss, something, some person, some shudra, and then nothing, just working, just working, and then eating and then sleeping and mating, just like the squirrel is doing, just like the other animal is doing. And he's thinking that okay, by this working, I'm going to get more of these things. Not realizing actually the Lord is giving him those things. And he won't get more he won't get more if he's not destined to get more. It's not his fate, it's not his destiny, he won't get more. No way. So goes on working and working in this illusion, and then passes time like that and passes into his next body according to nature. Doesn't even have a choice in that either. It's just, you know, just past this time in ignorance and foolishness and illusion and Maya, and there's no chance of happiness or peace or anything. Just thrown back again into the material, pool of suffering and drowning like that, drowning like that. Anyways, the Lord's lotus feet and devotional service to the Lord, they're our vehicle for crossing over this ocean of, material suffering, birth and death. You know, so we've been given the opportunity now to grab hold of those lotus feet, and we should be satisfied with that. Ultimately, that's satisfying. I don't have to, worry now. I've made it to the temple. This is great. Lord's lotus feet are right there on the altar. No? And we've got it. That's it. I don't have to, do anything crazy, what's next? No, we've made it. We've made it. It's just a matter of realizing. Now, just realizing it. We're safe, This is it. So it's such a nice position to be in. You know, safety, it's shelter. Every morning we get the opportunity to wake up and realize that too. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. So let's see here. Text 35. Let's continue. Let's do some more reading unless anyone has any comments or questions. Yes, Ruby? Hmm.
You mentioned that the Lord will give our like whatever sense gratification we need. Um, but sometimes there's like a does the sadhaka ever need to look for sense gratification so he can do better service? That's my question.
Well, I guess my initial thought process is that the sadhaka should be looking for new ways to serve Krishna's senses, new sense gratification for Krishna. If he's not feeling that, if he's not able to do that, then there's plenty of things in our movement, plenty of there's plenty of ways in our movement that we can get sense gratification in a way which is not disastrous for our spiritual life. You know, like if one is performing service and he's really thinking, just like Srila Prabhupada, I think he used to have this jar of gulab jamins, in his room. And anyone can go in there and take, when they felt like they needed to. So that's there. So we're offering that, you know. That's gonna be the main net for a lot of people. Is that what we are offering? Sense gratification in the form which people are accustomed to, eating, singing, dancing, associating, but it's spiritual. And then, then we're also mainly suggesting, and it's very strongly suggesting that people try to use their intelligence and their own senses to provide sense gratification for Krishna, because that's ultimately going to bring us back to that position of transcendental bliss, pleasure. Because if the Lord is happy, then with us, then well, there's no question of our feeling any kind of, you know, lack of happiness. But honoring prasadam is very pleasing to the Lord. You know, when we honor prasadam, and the implication is that we've done it in the right consciousness. We've taken prasad in the right consciousness. We're honoring it, so we can honor prasadam, and it's very satisfying to our senses. Actually, the whole thing is satisfying to our senses, but we may have a certain kind of conditioning towards that particular thing. But even chanting Hare Krishna is very satisfying to the tongue. Rupa Goswami describes how chanting Hare Krishna, how satisfying it is to the tongue, that when he chants, he wishes for many, many more tongues. You know, that's it must be pretty tasty. You know, I've never really had like that in this world where I thought, yes, let me have more tongues so I can keep trying this. I've never had that thought. You know, nothing. But Rupa Goswami has that thought in his ears as well. So chanting Hare Krishna must also be very, very tasty. But we have a type of jaundice, we can't taste it. But we can taste the gulab jamins, and that's Krishna Prasad. So that's totally spiritual, totally spiritual. And there's benefit for tasting the gulab jamins, even if we're not honoring it, even if we're just like eating it. I'm just hungry and I eat it, and it's like food, you know. Anamaya kosha, anamaya, yeah, that's the word, anamaya kosha. When the consciousness is on the platform of food, you know, which we find ourselves in that position a lot. At least I do. Anamaya kosha. So even then, I'm taking prasad. So if I'm there and I take prasad, still benefit is there. That's the mercy. That's mercy. You know, even this chanting, somebody told me that's what I should do, but I'm still on that platform thinking it's food. Then there's benefit there too.
But then we come to the platform where we really see, whoa, these activities are related to Krishna. And then honoring prasadam becomes an intimate spiritual activity. And chanting is so. But Lord is so merciful that he is the way he is, and the way he is that he's absolute. So, just like the sunlight, you don't have to. If you step out in the sunlight, you'll feel it. Whether you want to believe in it or not, or whether you're conscious of it or not, you stand there long enough, and changes will begin to happen. To your skin will get darker, or things like that. You get burnt. So the Lord is absolute, and He's there whether we want Him to be or not. And you give somebody prasadam, and that has an effect on the consciousness, whether they want it to or not. Now, still, we should see that practicing devotional service
certainly the Mahaprabhu. And knowledge of him comes as a result. More and more, more and more and more. And taste comes. It's nice. More and more nice. What else is there to know? What do you know? You want to know. It's so blissful knowing about God. It's all of this which is day, forward, pastime, so blissful. You want it, you want to know. Otherwise, you want to know everything. Whatever else those things are, it doesn't matter. If I don't know the Lord, all and fellowship. There's a lot of things in this world that they should be. One of them should be done. How useless things. What are useless things? Oh, not knowledge of Krishna, not trying to live alone. That knowledge, it comes from serving Him, surrendering Him. Ultimately, it also leads to further surrender, further engaging in service. So,
Various channels of song chanting, explaining to them, I say thank you. Been meditating on this verse, fourth chapter, that talks about being free from attachment to fear and anger, taking refuge in me, Krishna says, equally absorbed with me. Many persons in the past became pure by divine unless they all take against the form. They get a little confused by what he means being purified by knowledge of this. Hearing you speak about it, it's resonating with me. It's like this knowledge kind of this result of this positive knowledge, the attachment to the world. But here in 6:14, Krishna is saying that actually that knowledge purifies us. So the results, the mean here, the end of the above.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, with both, we know that with both. So that's the nature of devotional service. That's really yoga. What do you mean intelligent? Yoga means, of course, Krishna. And the reason why it's called that is because it's very simple, it's very direct, and we hear about it. We hear about the philosophy and we apply it. So we get some knowledge and we apply it. And then we get more knowledge. More things to apply. And more knowledge. So yeah, there's two things are happening simultaneously. It's like again, I guess with the analogies of fire. You know, when you're feeling that sunshine, you're feeling its heat. So there's many different effects that are happening at the same time. You're feeling burnt, and you're feeling light. So you can't necessarily separate those. So yeah, devotional service and is the means to know Krishna. It is the highest knowledge, most confidential knowledge. So it's the way to get that knowledge, and the way to practice devotional service is by hearing, barring knowledge, so you can't separate this. Maybe somebody else has something? Okay.
Yeah, there's
Krishna said, nothing shows the mind as transcendental knowledge. So I think that, your point is hearing the knowledge is itself Krishna and symbols as service. So we hear the knowledge, and by that specific hearing, then we actually get more knowledge. It's amazing. It's amazing. So then there's more to apply like that. So then we apply it more heavily by investing more in devotional service. So there's a verse in Bhagavatam which states that by also devotional service causes knowledge, one gains causes knowledge and attachment. And at the same time, then Krishna also gives the direction in Bhagavad Gita to try to get knowledge and approaching spiritual mastery. So he prescribes both. Where it's stated that there's both that we try to search for knowledge through the association of your devotees, and then we also practice devotional service, and through that practice we get more knowledge from everything. So he says, Buddha yoga tongue, that I give them the knowledge which to come to me when they're constantly engaged in devotional service, which Prabhupada was speaking about on Friday, last Friday, where he said, Satyam. I'm saying this would be when we're constantly absorbed in the service where our consciousness is fixed in devotion. And then that's when he was talking about the quality of our chanting. That, you know, if we chant deliberately calling his holy name, when that type of service is qualifying us for a lot of good knowledge. And the point that I wanted to make on that is that there's the devotee Jayananda Prabhu, which Krishna was speaking about. There's a memory where Jayananda Prabhu was in the car with Srila Prabhupada, or maybe there's a letter about it, but that Prabhupada marked how intensively Jayananda Prabhu would try to chant. And Prabhupada marked him that Krishna had truly enriched your consciousness because of this. So then, I just wanted to give that a specific instance. Prabhupada recognized the devotee that gaining potentially recognizable knowledge, which reflected in his behavior, his speech, etc. By sincerely attempting, we're trying to attempt to change something.